All right, well, let's get started. Welcome everybody to today's highly anticipated webinar, where we're going to jump into the transformative world of routers and IoT connectivity with our friends at InHand Networks. I'm delighted to have each and every one of you join us today as we embark on this journey and explore how InHand Networks is revolutionizing industries through very innovative solutions and cutting-edge technology. Vertex Wireless is absolutely thrilled to become a direct distributor for InHand Networks and add their IoT solutions to Vertex's developing technology portfolio. From smart cities to industrial automation, from healthcare to transportation, IoT has become the cornerstone of modern innovation, enabling seamless communication and data exchange between devices like never before. And at the heart of this IoT revolution lies InHand Networks, a global leader in industrial IoT solutions. Throughout our webinar, we will uncover a myriad of ways in which InHand is empowering businesses to harness their full potential of IoT, driving efficiency, reliability, and scalability across many diverse sectors. We'll dive into their comprehensive suite of routers and IoT port products designed to meet the unique challenges and demands of today's interconnected world. Many of you guys already know me. Again, my name is Mike Fleming. I'm the Director of Marketing and Strategic Development here at Vertex Wireless, and it is my esteemed pleasure to introduce you to InHand Networks. Joining me today is Brian Buckley from InHand Networks. Mr. Buckley is Director of Channel Business Development at InHand and an industry veteran. Mr. Buckley has a business psychology background and helps global cellular router companies to develop their story and differentiators so that we can develop a strong and effective carrier and channel program that produces lasting results. He's a husband of one and father of five who lives in the Chicagoland area, who proves his loyalty by being a suffering Chicago sports fan. He also thrives on taking the complex and making it simple. Before we get going, I have just a couple quick housekeeping items to cover here. A recorded version of this webinar will be available following the conclusion, so we will email that out so you guys can share that with your colleagues. We will also make the presentation deck available, and that'll also be emailed out concluding the call. Feel free to share these materials with your coworkers and your teams. Please also feel free to follow us on LinkedIn and Facebook for more future information on InHand's device portfolio. Secondly, we'd love to hear your questions and comments. There's going to be a brief Q&A at the following tail end of the call. We have muted your microphones right now just in an effort to reduce background noise and interference during the webinar, but I will unmute you at the end of the presentation. There's also a chat section at the bottom of your GoToWebinar control panel. Feel free to place questions and comments in that chat section, and we'll answer your questions throughout the webinar. For those of you just joining us, welcome. We're just getting started, and we appreciate you joining us for the debut of the InHand Networks portfolio. Whether you're a seasoned professional in the telecom space or just beginning to explore router possibilities, this webinar promises to be an enlightening and enriching experience. So sit back, relax, and prepare to be inspired as we uncover the boundless opportunities that await the world of IoT. Mr. Buckley, without further ado, let's unlock the power and potential of connectivity together with InHand Networks. The stage is all yours, my friend.
Thanks, Mike. In fact, I'm excited to hear about these guys. You know, that was quite the intro on there. And as you know, being a Chicagoan, we like questions, comments, but also snide remarks. So feel free to add that on this happy Match Martinus Day. So I'm go from there. So you guys ready?
Let's do it.
All right, it's go time. So let's talk through this here. You guys may be thinking here, who is this InHand Networks company anyway? And hopefully this is going to be worth your time. That's the Master People plan, guys. Honestly, we want to make sure we're bringing you value, and also too, can and how they can make me money. So we're going to be very, very clear on how we can work together as a team. What are some of our successes that we're seeing in the industry, and how can we really, lastly here, how to have you guys use a little effort and make money on this aspect of that. So hopefully you guys realize you're in the right spot, and it's go time. I've got two guys on our team that's here, Mark Boyd and also Tony Lee. They'll be chiming in here to keep me honest on this and talk a little bit more on the technical side of the devices. So let's go. So InHand Networks, I came to them 5+ years ago, and I love global companies who have a desire to make an American brand. and especially unpacking their story. So listen to our CEO and our background as a company, 20 plus years in the industry, over 5 million active devices, all of that. It really came down to them describing what is now known as the 1 number and 3 words. And so, this one InHand Networks 1 number and 3 words, you guys, you can use this on a call with a customer. You can use it to send an email. I mean, the whole goal though is to take this content here and to be able to position yourself as an expert with InHand Networks. So here's the number, InHand number 3. InHand Networks is the 3rd largest industrial cellular router company in the world by volume. Let me say that again. InHand Networks is the 3rd, there's your number 3. Large industrial, we'll talk about what industrial means in our world. Cellular, obviously on certifications with all the carriers. Router, that's us. Company in not just the US, not just North America, but the world. Think Sandlot by volume. So I usually say on this, guys, when I hear that word by volume initially with InHand Networks, I'm like, come on, man, what about the big dog out there called Cradlepoint? Well, they're by revenue. And if you guys know business, you know that revenue benefits really only one side of the house, and that's going to be the shareholders of that specific company on there. I'm really glad to be on the volume side, and we'll talk through the benefits that'll provide for you along with your customers. But just hey, starting out that email, starting out that conversation with a customer, hey, who's InHand Networks? You may not know this, but kind of go back to Ron Burgundy over at Anchorman. Remember how he said to Christina Applegate, I don't know if you know this, but I'm kind of a big deal. People know me. Then he goes, oh, stupid mentioning about the leather books. But, going back to us, InHand Networks is kind of a big deal. People are starting to get to know us on there. So it's a great opening line in a conversation, on a call, within an email. Then we go by 3 words. And I love these 3 words because of not just the simplicity of them, but man, there's a lot of punch for these 3 words and what it would mean for you. So here's the 3 words: low, high, and full. Here's what they mean. Low is lower cost. Now, this does not mean cheap. This means cost effective. If you guys remember before COVID, there was life, right? And budgets, man, were free dealing. People were spending all their budgets, had 0 complications. Then all of a sudden, we went from 100 miles an hour to COVID to like complete not moving on budgets. Everything locked up, saving the money, don't spend anything. And if maybe you found this to be true, I know we have on our side, but now that we're past COVID, there's budgets. They're just a lot more cautious on how they're spending their money. They're wanting to be more cost effective. They're needing more bids, those type of things. And this really put InHand in a very, very good position with being lower cost. Now, we're not the guy who is, the cheap sale out, 50% off. There's one item in the store just to get you in the store. We are consistently lower cost. And the reason why? Because of our volumes. Being the 3rd largest in the world by volume. Because of our volumes and the scale that we have, we're able to produce lower costs on a consistent basis. But usually when you have lower costs, it does not mean the second word. So low means high, highly reliable. Usually lower cost means lower reliability. Not the case with InHand Networks, not at all. Our background is making sure that we produce product that is going to be incredibly highly reliable. The proof of that, we have an under 1% failure rate. Over 5 million devices in the field and under 1%. Now, if I'm sitting with you as you guys right now, the first thing I'll be thinking of, okay, now I'm learning a little bit more about InHand Networks, but man, can I trust them to introduce myself or them to my customers? And hopefully this answer right here, I mean, obviously the lower cost is always appealing, but the reliability, the under 1%, hopefully really gives you a little bit of confidence here. And obviously that Vertex is going to bring in a line that's going to benefit you, but also that's going to be trustworthy. There's the proof, guys, because of that of being the under 1% failure rate. And the last word is fully industrial. Now we take fully industrial by 3 ways. One is temperature range. So I like to say hot like my wife. If you guys remember Ricky Bobby on not Anchorman, Talladega Nights. Remember he's sitting around the table with his family and he's thanking Jesus for his wife, for his smoking out wife, and his wife's raising the roof right there deep in prayer. This is my wife, my smoking out wife. But think temperature ranges. If it's going to be hot or it's going to be cool like Mike. I mean, there's not too much cooler than Mike. So the temperature range is going to be a big thing with industrial. We replace a lot of devices, guys, just not that they're bad devices, but they're put in applications where in industrial as far as temperature ranges are required. It also means that it's going to fall back to shock. So think about anything that's going to be shock related, vibration related is what we're going to consider to be fully industrial. What's cool about our fully industrial as well is this isn't what's considered, sometimes they're called light industrial. A company may call it polycarbonate, the rest of the world calls it plastic. Nothing wrong with it, but on our specs, on majority of our devices are going to come out fully industrial from the housing to the components that's on there. Another benefit of it, it's not an additional charge. I repped a company years ago where they had a non-industrial line and an industrial line, and all of a sudden people needed the industrial line. They remembered the lower cost, but then all of a sudden they got the industrial and it was 50% more. Not the case. Everything that we have is going to fall into that category there, and there's no additional charge. So quick review. I mean, if you're talking back to that email, you're introducing, I'm connected with Mike for the first time here, introducing InHand Networks and just saying, hey, InHand Networks is the third largest industrial cellular router company in the world by volume. And guess what? They sell lower cost, highly reliable, and fully industrial routers. But we also have some disruptors. And this is important for you guys to know this as far as where the warranty lies and other little secret sauces that may come with a company. A disruptor is not customer service. A disruptor is not being honest or customer loyal, whatever that. For these, we're looking for true disruptors. And this one right here is a 3-year warranty. Now, we live in the cellular router world. We know where the other warranties are. And do you know what most of them are? Almost every single one, 1-year warranty. And you have to pay for that warranty year after year after year. We've been asked, hey, any chance we could bump that up to a 5-year warranty, 10-year warranty? The answer is absolutely yes. Our technology will not change quicker than the cellular router technology on there. So devices that are going to be out there are going to be out there for a very long time because how reliable that they are. But having a 3-year warranty is really big. It's not just matching industry as the lower cost guy. It's not doubling it, it's tripling that. So hopefully that brings you guys, again, confidence in having a lower cost product, but it's still absolutely rock solid in their guarantees as far as quality of products. Then there's also free cloud device manager. And for those of you that don't know that, what that means, I'm gonna make it very simple for you. Ready for this? You manage the device by the cloud. So the example would be, we've got Tony on our call right here. And let's say Tony has all of you guys as his resellers and he's got product that's out in each of those locations. But in order if something goes wrong with a cellular router, if he doesn't have cloud, he's got to go out and send a guy to touch every single one of your locations. Not time effective, not cost effective. The cloud's gonna be able to look in and be able to say, hey, you know, how's the signal strength? Is the device on or off? Do we need to send a firmware update? All those things can be done over the air. And we offer a free cloud device manager on all of our 4G products and one of our 5G products. And we'll talk about that in just a moment. But that's huge, guys. I'm gonna tell you right now, I love my competitors. Most of them become fat and lazy. Not to name call, but more importantly, they become more of a SaaS company, software as a service. They're providing a yearly warranty and a yearly cloud device manager, which is paralyzing. Because some of these cloud device managers can go from $50 to $100 to $200 per device. So think about that. They buy 50 devices, maybe they get the first year free with that company, but they don't remember that. Month 11, they get an invoice that lets them know, hey, buddy, for those 100 devices right now you got to pay every single year for the cloud and the device manager. I'm sorry, the warranty. I liken it to getting a phone that you pay for, but all of a sudden the company that you buy the phone from says, hey, because you don't use our warranty, because you're not using our cloud services, you know, the phone that you bought, you can no longer use. It is now a brick. And we just think that's unfair. We want to make sure we empower our customers and our resellers and distributors in Vertex. And so having these as old hardware guys that provide quality products and think of the customer before our own bottom line is a really, really big deal. We've got a couple of different clouds that are out there. And so if you guys are ever interested in seeing that, maybe Mike Fleming, we could offer maybe a 30-minute call that can go through these cloud device managers in a little bit more detail. So if any of the resellers or their technical guys or anybody else would like to see that, they can get a chance to go a little bit deeper dive on that and get a better experience on that. But that's available upon request. Mike, you think that would be of value?
That'd be tremendous. Thank you for the offer. We'll definitely take you up on that.
Well, you bought the webinar, you get that other one for free on there. So feeling very giving on an almost Friday, right? But yeah, the cloud's a great use too. And also too, we have found that many of our resellers and even carrier partners, when they use the cloud, they pull us on a call so that a customer could see it, and close rate becomes incredibly high. Worst case scenario, they buy a demo unit to get kind of up and running, but sometimes they just need problem solved and they go ahead and place an order. So this really has become, even though it's a technical resource, has really become a sales tool that you guys can leverage. And then back to disruptors, a full bundle. Yeah, what's that mean? Well, I liken it to Spirit Airlines. I'm an analogy kind of guy here. I'm on a plane all the time. I'm an author. I got 3 books on business travel, so travel's kind of my jam here. But if you guys heard of Spirit Airlines, you know, they're kind of known for being low cost, but it's a little bit more kind of nickel and dime. You know, they charge you for a bag going on, they charge you for the seat, they charge you to walk on the plane, they charge you for water. I don't know if you guys know this, but they now charge you to go to the bathroom. You know, and going number 2 is more expensive than number 1, and I'm completely kidding. Some of you guys all of a sudden just got out of your inboxes and like, what did this guy just say? My point is this: sometimes you can have something that's a la carte, and it just wears you out because you keep having to add things. And sometimes the bottom line, it ends up being a little bit more expensive for frustration sold separately. Not us at all. And we're going back to that full bundle. It means power supply is included. It means that the basic antennas to use the device are included. It means that the cabling that's required for the router is included on that. And we have found that so many times it's just refreshing. They can get it out of the box. They can get the box working right there. Now, there's some times where they're going to need a different antenna depending on the application. Let's say it's on a bus. Let's say it's in a basement where the signal's not very strong, and that's obviously where you guys can come in and add additional value to be able to do that. But out of the box, we want to make sure that they've got a full bundle that's going to be there. So back to the email. Hey, dear Mike, you know, InHand Networks is the third largest industrial cellular router company in the world by volume. 3 words, and they sell lower cost, highly reliable, fully industrial routers. Go to Disruptors. It has a 3-year warranty, offers free cloud device manager, and it's a full bundle. And oftentimes, really only what's needed after that is a link to the suggested device, or at least to a number of our devices that are there. Again, man, we're all in sales, we're all busy, but we also want to be effective in our communication. So hopefully something like this within our 1 number and 3 words can be something that becomes very, very secondhand for you as well on a call, on a visit with a customer. It's going to be on an email from there. So let's turn the corner here. We want to make sure we honor time here. We're going to dive into some of our devices, 5G and 4G. And my distinguished comrades here, Mark and Tony, feel free to chime in at any point with this. So one of the biggest things that are out there, at least in the cellular world, dealing with the carriers right now, is a term called FWA, fixed wireless access. Some call it BI, business internet. But having a box like that has become a very, very big demand. Now, with us being the manufacturer, some of the things that we wanted to do is to find out from the industry, man, what do people like about some of the other devices that are out there? What do they not like at all? And what would they change? What would they add? And we have done a really, really good job of listening to the industry. It goes to our leadership of finding out, hey, who better than finding out from the experts in the field, find out from our resellers and distributors that what's working and what would they like to see. And this was one of the biggest requests, along with the 4G battery backup device on this. But Tony, why don't you take just a moment here, just kind of unpack this device a little bit here and let them know what the benefit of this specific device is.
Sure. So this is the most price effective device. I mean, if you figure 3 years of cloud, 3 years of warranty, for a lot of companies, that's actually life of the product. So it's, in a way, it is fire and forget. The other part is based on the cost of it. I mean, you're looking at something that's affordable, not just for large scale enterprise business, so on and so forth, but this has actually gained a lot of traction in the last few months with light retail. So think of shoe stores, think of fast food restaurant chains, think gas stations where there's multiple points of sale. Maybe they need something to drive a few IP cameras for security purposes, whatever the case may be. I've got one customer, he's literally made a really fun little side business where he's selling it to mom and pop restaurants all over a metro, one of the top 10 metro areas in the United States. And they provide free Wi-Fi for their customers through this, plus point of sale connectivity and so on and so forth. I mean, it's ultra low cost, even with the activation price changes from some of the carriers on the spiffs. It's still a very, very cost effective, very attractively priced solution. This is probably the hottest product we've got right now. If it's not, it's number 2.
Perfect. Thanks, Tony. And you guys are going to get a copy of this this deck right here. This is a very valuable slide. So each of the devices we're going to show you, you may or may not be aware of these other companies, but they're going to be a look like, smells like. Your customer may be aware of them. So to kind of have a head-to-head comparison across the board, there is a big differentiator that's going to be there. For us, there's just a number of really rich features that we're going to add, but most of all, it's going to be the number of antennas that are going to be there, along with the length of the device cloud and the warranty that's going to be there. So very feature rich, as Tony mentioned, device, numerous applications. We are more than happy to help you guys along with on Vertex of where some of the wins there. Could there be some case studies, as Tony kind of just mentioned a moment ago, that we could send to you guys to kind of beef up your email, that one number and 3 words, and the link that needs to come with it to be able to help you position yourself the best for different applications. So that's one of our first 5G products. The second one is it's called the ER805. What's really unique about InHand, and I love this because I'm a simple kind of guy, is the last number of the box is the number of Ethernet ports. So for example, ER805, FWA02, the last number Ethernet ports. Also, to everything we have is at least dual SIM. So having that is great. Reason why people want dual SIM, well, sometimes they want redundancy, or as I like to say, redundantly redundant. Sometimes they want to maximize their rate plan. So let's say they've got put 2 Verizon SIM cards that fail over to their own, to the own carrier on Verizon on there. So having that at no additional charge on everything dual SIM is a big value add. Mark, why don't you take a moment here and kind of unpack what this ER805 is and where we could potentially use this box, or we've found some success.
Sure thing, Brian. So the ER805 is one of our top selling enterprise grade 5G routers. It's also a fully industrial device, but it's great for those enterprise businesses that still require, primary networking device to manage their company or business network. So you can deploy this either as a primary device or a failover device as well, that does also have some additional enterprise grade functionality, including, as you can see here on the slide, some SD-WAN capabilities as well. And we also are developing additional capabilities on that end as well to further increase our market share in the enterprise business as well.
Perfect. And like our other slide on that, kind of Mark is referencing here, having this comparison slide is big. I mean, look at some of these prices, guys. I mean, obviously the Peplink one is a little bit similar on there, but there's just a number of features where in the end, it just is outperforming on this. But, Cradlepoint's a big dog that's always out there. Look at the price it's going to be there. I always like in Cradlepoint, man, nobody loses their job buying or selling Cradlepoint. They just can't buy half as many as they can with InHand on there. So edge router, we've seen a lot of success out there in the market right now. And one other detail too, we kind of get to product. Our CEO is an engineer. And what we love about that, and he's here in the States, is he understands the market that's here. He understands distribution and use of carriers. He understands, obviously him coming from what was it, Schneider Electric, Tony? Was that his upbringing?
Yeah, that was Schneider. That's right.
Yeah. And so that industrial IoT, IIoT kind of looks like iLot, but industrial IoT is our space. So, there's times where we look like, smell like, Cradlepoint or Peplink or Inseego. But man, when you pull back the covers, there's a whole lot more too of what we have to offer. We're going to kind of give you the top sexy 6, if you will, on this. But if you have applications, they're going to be in a number of different locations, depending on where you are. We can help develop those a little bit more, man. There's a ton of IoT M2M solutions that we want to pick up and help you with on there. So that's just some additional color on that. Outdoor unit. So again, going back to letters and acronyms, ODU. This honestly, guys, came from listening to resellers and listening to carriers. There's other boxes that are out there that, again, good boxes, not there to knock them. But when we've asked to build something that is going to add some value and get me better, we love and relish that opportunity. So Tony, why don't you talk for a moment about the ODU and some of those applications?
Sure thing. So the ODU is literally it's the cord cutting 5G solution. If you've got customers, for example, and there's a lot of them right now who are struggling with, let's say, Comcast, where their typical business internet connection is, let's call it through Comcast, they're paying $300 to $400, sometimes more per month for the connection. Things go down. Everybody knows this, and it's been in the news, and they keep going down more and more, and they're operating on 8-hour reconnect windows, 12-hour reconnect windows. And in the beginning, they're operating on anywhere from 2 to 8 week installation windows for your customer. So in the digital age here, where you're, what is it, 80% roughly of your transactions are credit cards, for example, and the cable company says, yeah, we know you're ready to open. Yeah, we know you're open, but we can't be there for 6 weeks. That absolutely crushes a lot of businesses. This comes along, they connect it, and they're done. If they're married to Meraki, if they're married to Cisco, this is your best option because you're able to take this, plug it in, and it is effectively a super fast 5G modem.
And Tony, answer that as far as the power over Ethernet, the benefit that's going to be there for that.
Exactly. It is PoE. So, you do install it on the outside of the building. Or you can even install it on top of the building. There's options for a mast type scenario on the roof of the building. Then there's mounting brackets that you can attach tapcons to the outside of the building as well. There's also a really, really cool little app that you can download from your phone to be able to connect to it over a Wi-Fi connection for diagnostic and troubleshooting purposes, so that you're not having to send a guy up on the roof or up with a ladder or get a telehandler or who knows what. So we've put a lot of thought into this. And one of the funny parts is at least it tickles me, one of the accessories that's an option that's sub $50 is a lightning arrestor. That's something that no one else in this whole industry has considered.
And Tony, that shocked me when I heard that.
Wah, wah, wah.
I know, I will be here the rest of the webinar. And this, to go back to the comparison slides, if your customers are interested in spending 50% more, they can move to Inseego, or 100% more, they can move to Cradlepoint here. But even if they beyond the prices, from a feature-rich point of view, it's one thing that InHand has been very, very, very strong on. So this, again, going back to the cloud device manager, like we mentioned, the 4G one in one of our devices of the 5G are free cloud. This is the cloud managed network solution. For anybody who's dealing with certain products, as you're seeing on the screen right here, they're used to paying for very, very, very advanced, very, very expensive device managers. And so they're paying for it after the first year. We're doing 3 years on that. And it's something that's very, very incredibly pennies on the dollar, cost effective. And as Tony mentioned, there's also a mobile app that's available there. So this one, guys, has really become a unique product. So there is a reseller on the Verizon side who white labeled a box on there. Number of things that people liked about it. One of the biggest things they did not like about it was the battery. They were having a lot of problems with the battery, the life of the battery, dying, not having really full access to the cloud, the warranty, all those things. So we went the opposite direction on there. So we really listened to all those aspects of that. It does have dual Ethernet because remember, it's the IR202. It has SIM cards, also an eSIM slot that's available on there. But the big sexy part of the program for this guy is the battery. I mean, it's 12 plus hours of streaming video on this. Actually, Mark was watching video for 13 plus hours on Netflix, and I'm not gonna tell you what he's watching, because we're a PG kind of crowd here. But man, for something the last 13 plus hours of streaming shows you the strength of this specific box. So Mark, take for a second and just kind of unpack exactly what this box is and the benefits of it.
Sure thing. So the CR202 is still a fully baked router. So it's not just a mobile hotspot. It does have those router capabilities in addition to providing a Wi-Fi access point. In addition to the Wi-Fi, it does also have an Ethernet port. So if you needed to connect a physical device or a device physically to the router, you do have that capabilities. And as Brian mentioned, it does have that backup battery. So it's a perfect device for anybody who's on the road, traveling like Brian always does. He has one of these, takes it everywhere he goes. So he always has that immediate internet access for any kind of business applications or need for that connection on the go. As you can see, it is also very low cost solution. So you got $229 on the MSRP. And once again, just to mention, it does come with that free 100% free device manager and a 3-year warranty as well.
And on volumes of this, we can get really aggressive with you guys through Vertex.
Quick question on the CR202. Do you know what carrier certifications it has?
Yes, everyone.
All three, T-Mobile,
Yes.
Verizon, AT&T.
That's correct.
Fantastic, thank you.
Yeah, and on this one too, if you look at on the specs on that mic, It says, SIM slots, but it has an eSIM as well on there. The eSIM currently, and keep me honest, Tony and Mark, is Verizon only for right now, at least the current version, if they're wanting to use the eSIM slot. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay,
Yes.
perfect. And as the guys mentioned, and Mike, thanks for adding that question on there. It is just a workhorse, from a durability point of view, packaging point of view. I mean, it is an unbelievable device. Again, I'm big fans of other products because especially if and when they fail out, I love somebody else to get the 20 devices, for the initial demo pilot of that, it doesn't work. And then the 200 or the 2000 rolls out to us on there. So we really want to be able to support you on any of these boxes with this, but we have found this has been a great replacement box. So any other questions, comments, Snyder, Marks, Mike?
I've got something to throw out real quick if Mike doesn't.
All yours, Tony.
With I'm sure as a lot of your partners know, there were some changes in the compensation plans at Verizon last month. With those changes, quite literally, the CR202 is the single most profitable device that they can sell. We've done the math. We've had it validated by multiple Verizon co-sell partners. It's the single most profitable device that can be sold. And it's also obviously the best warranty and one of the best prices. The other thing is you may come across other devices in the field where they say that they've received a very low number of devices back. Some of that is accurate, but it's due to them just sending out replacement devices instead of requesting the RMA be shipped back.
Sneaky, Tony.
Anyway.
So we're going to touch on some 4G products here that, again, man, there's a ton of businesses out there for the IoT M2M world on this. This is probably one of our biggest workhorses. Again, last number of the devices, number of Ethernet ports, dual SIM on this box. T-Mobile sells an absolute ton of this along with AT&T. It's very similar to what we call that's out there. That's the Peplink VR Mini on this, but price-wise, just blows it away. Durability blows it away on this. But as you can see here, I mean, application-wise, I mean, we have put this in everything from we've owned the ATM markets, kiosks, digital signage, point of sale, construction sites. We have had one where some guy came into one of our trainings and just got chewed out for selling a ton of phone tablets, and MiFi's own mine was not selling BI fixed wireless. And because he had a hotspot, as Mark mentioned earlier, these are not hotspots. These are full functioning routers. And the router kept dying in these guys' construction sites. And so they were obviously not happy, very colorful in their replies about not liking it. And all of a sudden, this guy ended up putting this box in their hands and doubled it, tripled, quadrupled his number. He has a number of construction sites and kind of gone wash, rinse, repeat. So from not being very strong with routers to all of a sudden, just monopolizing a certain specific vertical on this box on this. Mark or Tony, any other input you want to put on this specific box here, or is it kind of self-explanatory?
It's pretty straightforward. I mean, we take that device and we put it in everything from kiosks and ATMs to, like you said, about mobile surveillance systems. And actually, the mobile surveillance with the remote IP cameras is really astute when you pointed out. We've got guys that are absolutely knocking the lights out in that environment. It's a very hungry industry for connectivity right now.
Perfect. So the bigger brother to this is the IR305. So the previous box, IR302, 2 Ethernet ports, Cat4, band 71, hence a big favorite for T-Mobile on that side. The 305 is Cat6, and if you guys are familiar with the carriers, especially Verizon, they're a big Cat6 house. Many don't know why, but they are, and so we have this as an option on there. Or sometimes they'll want this box, it's faster speeds going from Cat4 to Cat6. Or they have the need for just more Ethernet ports. So sometimes even if they don't need the speeds that are going to be on there, they have the ability of having additional Ethernet ports that's on here. Mark, what are some maybe some use cases that we could use for this specific box here in the IR305?
302, 305, Brian, I think the use cases you pointed out, digital signage, kiosks, ATM are all great applications. Pretty much the 4G routers are going to be great solutions for anybody who requires the connectivity but doesn't necessarily need that 5G bandwidth. One thing to highlight with the 302, 305 is that they are both fully industrial, so they're not cheap plastic boxes. You can knock on them. They're solid metal. You could be deployed or installed in outdoor locations, not directly exposed to the elements. And also the 302 and the 5. You can't find, anything lower than that 175 MSRP. That's a solid price there on the connectivity and hardware. One other thing to mention about all of our 4G, 5G routers, they do have external antenna ports. So if you are installing the 302, 305, maybe in a kiosk that is in a solid, metal environment, you do have that ability to add on additional external antenna, which we can help source as well through Vertex to provide that antenna outside of that installed environment.
Hey,
Good
one
point,
other
Mark.
quick point. Our stuff runs at a higher temperature rating than anything else listed there. So if you've got something that's going into a panel, it could be a kiosk that's outdoors 24/7. It could be in a, some kind of an industrial panel somewhere where it's out of the weather. If you're in hot areas or cold areas, we've got a better operating range than anyone else.
Thanks for the add on that, Tony. I'm just going to touch on this box real quick, Mike, and then we're kind of rounding the corner here. The VG710 is a great box, and one of the reasons we really like it for the in-vehicle applications of this. So Tony had his hands on all over this box and the specs that are out and potential applications, and really hungry on the market side of that. But me being on the road a lot of times with resellers, but specifically carriers. I was in Boston, and guess what? Next thing you know, we're selling into ferries and yachts. We're in Nashville, and we're sending in tour bus applications. We've done EV charging. We have done, EV cabs. We have done limousines. We have done RVs for rent. I mean, there's just so many applications with this specific box because it is just such a workhorse. There's a 4G and a 5G application on this. Tony, why don't you take it for a minute and drill down a little bit more, since this is kind of a little bit of your brainchild.
Yeah, I actually did a 75 bus transit system for a municipality on the East Coast yesterday. Long story short is this will do everything that a router will whatsoever, as far as VPN connectivity, security, firewalls, the entire gamut of whatever you can dream up on a router. But then it also has onboard GPS. It has the ability to read the diagnostic ports on the vehicle, whether it's OBD2 or CAN bus, whether it's a big diesel engine or if it's a gasoline powered engine. It's just really solid for a lot of use cases. On the bus project that we did yesterday, they're using some of the onboard digital IOs so that they're able to tell whenever, not just when the bus stopped, but did he open the door and how long was the door open, because they're able to figure out that means somebody got on the bus. They've got a people counter, which is a little cool laser, which just sits there and ticks over and over and over. Through the onboard IOs, we're able to help them do that integration. Some of them are using it, like in the tour bus scenario, for just wildly fast internet on board the bus so that it's like a hotel rolling on wheels. But at the same time, we've got applications with law enforcement where they're using the Ethernet connections there, and they're driving the two on board the patrol car. So there's a ton of different options that this can be used for. It's a Swiss Army knife for anything with wheels.
Tony, you bring up a really good point on the integration there, and that's really cool, really surprising actually that you're able to integrate into existing APNs and different software and technology on board.
Yeah, it's a fully documented user interface, so we're able to handle, we're able to provide that to any company that needs it. So if they've got a third-party dispatch program, they can pull all of the data in, not just GPS, but I mean the digital IOs, the where the heck are they, what's going on with the engine, what's going on with the transmission, what does that check engine light really mean? Whatever they need, we've got it here.
Last slide here, Mike, and then any questions, comments, we can go from there. That's the original thing. I mean, the whole point of this, guys, was to make sure this is valuable that you know who InHand is, but also how do we make it simple and you be able to make money quickly and effectively. It gets back down to the one number and 3 words, and here it is. You know, InHand Networks is the 3rd largest industrial cellular router company in the world by volume. And they sell, there's the 3 words, lower cost, highly reliable, and fully industrial routers. They have a 3-year warranty, free cloud, and a full bundle. And like we mentioned earlier, sometimes right there, it just ends up with a link, maybe a PDF to the product or a case study. But we have really tried to make the complex and make it simple. That gets the phone ring, gets an order placed, and some forward motion. And we would just want to let you know, we are very cautious on who we pull in for resellers and distributors, because we want to be able to support you guys at the highest level, make you guys look like rock stars. So anything we can do to support you from a marketing point of view, from a sales point of view, from a technical point of view, we want to make sure that we enable you to succeed, because if you succeed, obviously we do as well. So Mike, that's all we got on this. Questions, comments, Snyder Marks?
That was awesome, guys. Thank you very much. A lot of detail there, a lot of very insightful information. So we'll open it up to the audience here for questions. I have given you guys control over your own microphone now. So if anybody has any questions, feel free to take yourself off mute and go ahead and verbally ask those questions.
The awkward silence.
We've got one question that just came in on the chat here. Someone is asking, where are the products manufactured? I'm assuming they're asking for what country?
Yes, so majority is out of China. We also have in Thailand and Toronto are 3 places of manufacturing on this. We buy from the mothership overseas, but we are our own entity here in the States. Anything you want to add to that, Tony?
Yeah, actually, we've actually been able to get the Thailand facility up in record time. We're shipping stuff from Thailand as well. So the big thing that you guys need to understand is we don't do contract manufacturing. We don't hire someone else to build our stuff for us. When we build things, we build them in our factories with our actual employees. So if there's any kind of issue, you're not having arguments and stirring conversations with a contract manufacturer at all hours of the night. It's you make a call to somebody and they walk over and smack Fred against the back of the head and say, cut it out. This is the right way to do it. Because of that, we've got very good control. That's a big part of how we're able to keep our failure rates so low. We're also looking at opening a line, a final assembly line in Virginia too, as well as we've been discussing with some manufacturing options in Mexico too. So we've got good geographic and geopolitical diversity.
And to add to that too, Tony and Mike, we've got some major players out there who obviously, with having, Chinese roots that's there, they want to use our products. And we've had GE Healthcare, for example, it's been with us for 15 plus years. We've got other companies who have audited us, whether our factories or our books. So we've got the paperwork. If that becomes an issue on there, we don't necessarily lead with that, obviously, because you didn't mention it. But, we don't shy away from it at all of our heritage there, but also two ways that we can maximize so it's a win-win. So, Mike, is that helpful?
It is all of our senior leadership's based in Virginia.
Perfect. Very useful. Thank you. Appreciate that. Had another question come in. Yes, we will be sending out a copy of the presentation as well as the audio from this webinar. So look for that here probably tomorrow. You'll receive those via email. Great questions. What else?
Can we add one more thing too that comes up often, Mike, is what happens on the technical aspect of that? And I think one of the things that we've done, as opposed to, again, making the complex simple, we've decided not to do a ticket system. We decided to leverage our solution engineers, FAEs, who imagine this, one of your resellers has a customer and they've got questions. Maybe they're struggling with some provisioning problems or need to do something that they just don't know how to do, whether it's tier 1, tier 2. We can remote into the device. We really want to do same day response time. So let us know sometimes it can be there, whether it's coming to the Vertex side or we join the Vertex side, or, your resellers, just get a hold of us and we can help that. To us, it's semantics. At the end of the day, we want the game to be solved very quickly. and any complications that happens on our products with it. They are simple, but we want to make sure that they have the answers that they need very, very quickly. So hopefully that's another value add that we have learned through the years dealing with channel and carrier.
Great insight. All right. Well, unless anybody else has any more questions, feel free to speak up. Otherwise, we will leave you guys here. Again, thank you for joining us. We really appreciate your time and interest in InHand. Your sales folks at Vertex here will be in touch here the next few days to make sure you have everything you need to begin selling InHand. And again, thank you for your time. Have a great day, everybody.
Mike, are you still on?
I am, Brian. You want to give me a call or something?
Let's see if we can get, Mike's already left.
Hey guys, don't go anything further on. Brian, this is Martin. Go ahead and disclose your go to meeting on the recording.
Okay.
I'm stopping the recording right now so we can talk.
Yep, and take the talk offline, Mike. Thanks.